Good Saturday morning, Stampers. This is Becky Hahn at BeckyStampinStudio.blogspot.com in Davenport, Iowa. I know this isn't Friday, but I had announced that I was going to jump in on Saturday morning instead to create this awesome card. I had done one, but I was wanting to do a couple other samples to share with you because I like to give you more than just the sample I'm working on. So this is, today we are doing something called a center pop-up card. I love the dimension. It reminds me of a diorama card. It's got these columns on the side that pop it up, and you can put whatever, and I'll show you how I did different things with it. So this is what the card looks like. Neat thing is it folds either way to fit in a regular A2 envelope. It is just a postcard back, which I have redesigned one for you that is not. And then this gives you a panel on the back where you can write your message or sign your card or whatever. This particular card uses the bundle called Plentiful Plants, one of my favorites. If you like gardening and plants, it works with a home and garden set. It works with the flowering rain boots. There's just so many things, and it's so nice for people. It's just a good general card. So if you need to place an order for some last minute items before the current annual catalog is gone, this is my host code, and my store can be reached at on my blog. Okay, so we're using on page 80 and 81 in the annual catalog. It's a sweet bloom where you were planted. I think I have a couple of samples with this neat trellis, but it has stamp set and dies. Awesome samples here. And you can still get it as a bundle if the parts are available, and I think they are. So let's get started to make our center pop-up card because the center is popping up. Like I said, it kind of looks like a diorama. So I'll kind of set this over here. Here's what you're going to need to make this particular card. Cinnamon cider, which I realize is leaving. If you have the DSP, Crayon Craze works as well. You're going to need a quarter of a sheet. Now, when I say quarter sheet, I mean 1/4 of a sheet of cardstock for your base. You're going to need a long piece. I'm going to turn this 1/4 by 9.5, and I'll cut that with you so you can see this is 11, and so essentially you're cutting off 1.5 inches. That's easier for you to know. For the bloom where you are planted designer series paper, they've got this awesome brick, and you're going to need to cut that at 4 by 5.25 because this is your back piece, and it goes here. You need a piece of the wood grain, which coordinates with this. This is that center piece. We're going to cut a window in it. This is the back side of that. And then you'll need plants. In my case, and I'll show you how this is wonderful. This is one of those times where we have dies that coordinate with the stamps, that coordinate with the designer series paper, which is going out. But I stocked up. I love this. So you need some basic white. You need a 4 by 5.25, and that's for your back piece. I'm going to do something different this time to give you options. That's what I like to do. And you need some scraps because this time I'm going to cut out the pieces and attach them to my card, if I can remember where I put them. Okay. And create them on my card. Okay, always something, always something. You'll need a window sheet that's 2.25 by 3 5/8. And you'll also need the stitched rectangle dies. You can use anything for your window opening, but I liked these stitched rectangle dies, which, wow, Saturday mornings are not a good day for me to do this. Because I have them sitting right here. Well, if I find them, I'll let you know where they are. but you're going to need 2 of them. And how do you decide which ones? It's whichever large one will fit on the designer series paper, and then you'll need a smaller one that fits inside. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. I do have some written directions. You can also check on my blog. I'm going to start by adhering the DSP to what I call the base. I'm going to set this here so you can kind of watch. Like this. And I'm going to set this aside. Okay? Now we're going to take this piece, which I call the center mechanism, and we're going to cut that to, it's 4 1/4, which is a half sheet cut lengthwise, and we're going to make it into 9 1/2. So we mark it 9 1/2 or cut off 1 1/2 inches. We don't need this piece, so we'll toss it. So here's where I'm going to bring out my directions for you. So you know where to score this. I call this the mechanism. This is the center mechanism. You're going to go at 1/2 inch. Get the cutting blade out of the way and go at 1/2 inch. And I do my 1/2 inch here because I can see it a little better, and I've got more of my card this way. And then we're going to go at 1 1/4, 2 inches, and 2 3/4. Now, many times, especially if you use a scoreboard, they tell us how to keep going. That just, even after all my years of sewing, I prefer to start at the other end. And so you're going to repeat at the other end. There's my 1/2 inch. Turn it around. Do 1 1/4 inch, like 2 inches, and 2 3/4. Okay. And then it says to crease. So I'm going to crease. This is not the strong crease right now. This is just a soft crease, I guess I'd call it. I have all kinds of stacks of stuff here. Nothing that I really need. Okay. Okay. So I've gently, see how this is all going to curl and make pillars down here, like so, okay? All right, so we're going to take our designer paper. It says cut the larger rectangle from your designer series paper. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. I am so excited that we finally get, I'm going to have to go get my tear tape. That we finally get our magnetic plates back. Starting with our new catalog, the ones for the large Big Shot, our large stamp and cut and emboss machine, will be available. I can't wait. They're a solid magnet instead of a magnet with all those little dots. Okay, so the larger one, okay, gets put on your designer series paper. I don't like to crank my machine through right here because it shakes my phone, so bear with me. Now, how many of you have ever had troubles, especially with these double-stitched dies, getting them out? Couple things I'll share with you. First of all, we've got a nifty-difty tool at the end of our pick-me-up tool, that you can slide it under here carefully. Now, I have most of my tear tape here because I'm not going to use that piece. All right. and then carefully remove the rest. And yes, notice you've only got, ooh, maybe between 1/8 and a 1/4 inch there. Okay, so now what you're going to do, and don't pass out because I'm using the liquid glue, multi-purpose glue. And the reason I say that is I do not use it very often. The reason I'm using it here is because in order to get this piece to fit on the center of this piece here, you need to have the ability to move it around a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to put this here in the center. And see, so you have all of, see why I don't use it? I get it all over the place on me. And okay, so that goes there. Now we're going to move to the smaller piece. My mom was helping me with some of my other samples. She said, why can't you cut it all together? I guess I'm too much of an exact person, so I like to have everything, and you'll see on my sample I'm going to work on that I didn't get it straight, but I like to have the opportunity to have it as straight as possible. Okay, now a couple other things that you can, tips that you can do with these double stitched dies is take a piece of wax paper and lubricate it by rubbing on it, like so. That will lubricate it. You know, we kind of do that with our punches. Couple of other things. Make sure the track is clean. I see washi tape in mine, and there's something here. So make sure it's clean. You can also run the die through with a piece of wax paper underneath it. Okay, so that works too. These I've almost replaced. I use these stitched dies so much I've almost replaced them. These are some of the original ones from Sizzix. Oh, look, see how it's still bleeding? Oh, because it went through the machine. See, whatever, it's a Becky thing. Okay, and then you should be able to, cardstock is a little firmer. Okay, and there's your frame. All right, so I'm going to move to my other one that because I have the tear tape on it. Okay, and I want to show you how to put that tear tape on it, which I do have, but I've discovered my dies and my bone folder, although I'm still missing my cutout pieces. Okay then, always something. Non-edited. Okay, so you cut the larger rectangle out of the DSP, then you adhere it to the center, then you cut the small rectangle through the window and onto the cardstock. Okay, and you can experiment with other shapes. All right, so I'm going to set this aside because I already have one ready to go. And as you can see, it's got a little character. It's a little cattywampus. So then what you're going to want to do is cut your tear and tape in half. Or I have, like I said, 1/8 inch tear tape, which you can get from most, not local. It's not a Hobby Lobby Michaels thing, I don't think. Different areas have different things available. It's a specialty crafting store, stamp store. Okay, so I've removed all of the backings, and you're going to, this is the wrong side, you're going to adhere your window sheet. Okay, then we're going to flip it over to this side. Now all these written directions are on my blog if you want to go look for them. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to go with my regular tear tape, and I've already done this side for you. So you want, there's like a 1/2 inch here, if you remember, as you scored. You're going to skip a section. These are all 3/4 inch. And then you're going to put, and I like 2 layers, but that's just me. Okay, there. All right, now we're going to bring back in our base, okay? We're going to start, this is really slick. We're going to start by lifting the back from the outside piece. I lied, we're going to, and then fold this in half, okay? Becky, you don't know what half is. Okay, fold it in half, and then fold the front over, and you should have about 3/8 of an inch showing through the window, and you've got your first box. Can you all see that? Okay, we're going to fold it in half. 1, 2, 3, a short section. So in half. And we're going to then fold the base piece, front piece over here again. See, so if we fold it like this, if my window had been straight, now we have our pop-up piece, okay? Some people call this a pillar card, and some call it, what's the other word? Let me see here. Pillar pop-up or column pop-up. So it kind of depends on what you've heard it as. Okay, I'm still looking for my plants. All right, now we'll put this piece on. And again, we fold it in half, okay? And you're going to take this crease and put it right along this cut fold like so. Okay, and then you have, what, about 3/4 of an inch? Okay, that's one side. Now we need to fold this flat, super duper, okay? See how that folds flat? You still see this piece here, and this is now here, but it's not attached yet. This is a little trickier, and this is sometimes where then I attach the wrong side. Okay, so again, we're going to fold it in half. Technically speaking, the crease and the fold should match, but I think it's more important it's folded flat to fit in the in an envelope. Okay, so oh, there they are. Okay, so here's the Plentiful Plants stamp set. I love all the words and the font. It's distinctive in my book, even though it's not listed, because look at all the shading and things you have here. There's also dies, including a little macrame hanger and some pot holders and some extra little things. There's a neat little weed here. This cuts out the aloe vera plant. It's too much fun. I'll show you some of the things I've done with it. So on this card, I took this sheet of paper and actually took the die and cut out the plant. Nice thing about that one is you could freehand cut it. So lovely colors, just jade, cinnamon cider, and evening evergreen. And then some smoky slate or gray granite. I don't remember which. Then there's this piece, and I cut out, let's see, is that this one? Yeah, there's a die that will cut this out. There's a die that will cut out this. You've got like succulents and things. You can see where I've cut things out. This is a neat wood grain and cinnamon cider. Let's see, the back side of the wood grain then is more plants. These you'd have to freehand cut. Look at some of these things. I think it's just too creative, too much fun. The brick then is also in here, and it's got a neat combination of evening evergreen and garden green going there. Okay, so what I did on the front of this one is I cut those out of the cardstock or the designer paper, and I did trim a little closer, and then I placed it on front. I decided it needed something else, so I added a message. So for this one, I always have a baggie of stuff. I decided, see, I've got, and you'll see some of these cute little pots. I keep all this stuff. Here's a piece of succulent. Some are stamped on vanilla, some are stamped on white. Okay, where's mine? Isn't this cool? Does that bring you back? I mean, that reminds me of days gone by. Okay, so I'm going to put the plant together first. And I did mine with glue dots. So I put glue dots on the biggest plant first. This was just my version. Okay. And then I stuck it. Oh, you know what? I think I did the little one first. I took it apart and did it again. Notice I'm putting the dot on the right side. Okay. Yeah. And see the white? I could trim around this. This one is in Just Jade, which is leaving. The pot is also cinnamon cider. And then I think I can still weave it through. Oh, not unless I cut it apart. Let's do that. Let's see. Do a little doctoring or editing here. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Yeah. Kind of mix and match it up a little bit. Let's turn it. These are the only kind of plants I can grow. There. Okay. There's my pot of whatever. Then those of you who like your glue, green glue, I'm sorry. It's just, we aren't friends. I still like my dado. So I'm going to put it, isn't this cute? This little macrame holder, like this. Okay, so now you've got your hanging pot. I think it's going to need a little hanger besides the hanging pot. How many of you have made these macrame hangers? I think my sister still has a plexiglass table that she macrameed. Okay, so I folded it in half. I stuck it through, which gives it a little more bulk. I'm going to flip this over. Hold that thought. Let's do something a little more. You're not going to see the glue through your window sheet. Okay. And the reason, oh yes, I'm going to get under here. Or the other thing you can do is fold it flat, push, and then what am I going to do with this? Every Stamper's Toolkit needs a few things that come from our secular world. And I'm going to try and take this to the back, preferably without seeing all those tails. So let's cut some of them. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I can't either. Okay, so let's remove it. That might be a little thicker than what we need. So maybe just once through. I'll fix that later when I get into it. And you know what? Personally, I don't think it needs anything else. Oh, I love the hanging plant. So you could do the hanging plant with the die cut ones too. Oh, perfect. Okay, now for the back. I'm doing something a little different because I, by the way, here are the stitched rectangle frames. There's like 16 of these in there, and I use them all the time. But I also am using the scalloped contour dies. I've taken this one out, and I was going to show you how I pop that up. This one is not quite so stitchy. I decided I didn't particularly care. See, here's where your bone creasing, burnishing. Okay, I like this a little better than this whole thing. Okay, so let's do a little stamping just because we can and see what we have room for. Okay, I said I used cinnamon cider and I am stamping on a cushion because I'm a firm believer that you need a cushion of one kind or the other. And photopolymer stamps, oh excuse me, with the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lovely. Oh, and I didn't think about it again. I didn't on the other one. If you want the whole plant on the back, although this is a little piece, you might want to think about moving the pot over. And then this is garden green. I also took my big one and cut it. And I know some of you have wrapped these in copy paper, which I think is an excellent idea. Okay. Now we have all kinds of sentiments in there. I like this, to a dear friend. What color did I do it on this one? Evening evergreen. Let's do it in cinnamon cider. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That still leaves you room to write a message, sign your name, or do whatever. See, I've got it on here. Or do whatever you feel you need to do. I don't see my stamp and seal. So I try to give you ladies variety and option, or gentlemen, I apologize. So there's where that looks like on the back, and there's this one. Don't you like the shape and not quite so much white? Depends on how much you're going to write. This, I think, was Cajun Craze and Evening Evergreen. This is Cinnamon Cider, which is a fresher pad, and Garden Green, which is a brand new pad. And we have this, and we have this. A center pop-up card done with the Plentiful Plants. Okay, so how about some other inspiration? First of all, let me give you some ideas with the Plentiful Plants and why I love it so much. Somebody did this. I did not. I love to do little detailed cards on my own time. This one I saw online. Excuse me. And it uses a variety of the stitch rectangle dies made into frames. This is punched out of the paper. That's punched out of the paper. A little gold foil. Combination of Cajun Craze. I believe this is from, I don't remember. Let me see if I can peek on the back. Oh, Plentiful Plants. So that's from that paper. So there's a slimline card. Here's one, little blinged up a bit. This is from the Host paper. Everything is kind of in Just Jade. I added a little plant die cut. Unfortunately, this die and these dies are leaving. This is the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I'm not sure if they're still around, and this is from the Hippo and Friends dies. Here's one that is a little different. We also have, and is leaving, a macrame embossing folder, and that's what's on the background here. I love how, and these I stamped. Yep, that's all stamped and cut out. And then an Evening Evergreen macrame hanger. Here's one with a variety of plants, some of our little dots from last year. And another one, I stamped directly on the DSP. Used another one of those dies from the Hippo and Friends dies. I never got the hippos, but I loved all the layered frames. And here's another one. See all the little different plants and stuff, using a jewel instead of the hanger in Cinnamon Cider. So those are some. I also did a Give It a Whirl card, which I can't find. Imagine that. So those are some ideas with this stamp set that I absolutely love. So let's then travel on to what my mom and I worked on yesterday. This one I really think I should do a video on, because if you notice on these cards, the brick goes clear through. You put it completely on the base and you can see it through the window. I think that's cool. This one I did start with, this is a stamp called Gentle Waves. Love it. Could run it this way. Mom and I were trying to figure it out, or you could run it with an opening here. Anyway, So I originally did the whole base with all the things coming through here, and I didn't like it. So this is a, I don't know if you can tell, it's a white piece, okay, that I have stamped maybe a third of it in the waves. This is instead of using, so I've created my own designer paper with the waves and the Coastal Cabana, okay? And so I added this Let's Set Sail bundle. It's a punch and a stamp set. I should have brought it down. It has some little seagulls, and I took my blending brush, which already had a little yellow on it. I don't know what shade of yellow, and added a little sunshine to the back. I love this color combination. So thanks to whoever suggested that, but I could see it as a dimensional thing. What I did do with this card is it does not have a back on it because it opens up. So if you prefer a full card, this will still fold flat and in your envelope. Ta-da, you've got a full card. Okay, last but not least, what color is this? Can you tell? This is one of our new InColors. It's called Orchid Oasis. It's kind of a periwinkle color, which is the color of the year for 2022. So I've used some of our little pads, or 6x6 pads of designer series paper. As you can see, this diagonal plaid does go clear through. So I did this one second, actually. We have some coordinating glitter ribbon that is coming out and will be available to you in just over a week. It has some matte dots that coordinate with it, and I did the frame exactly like I did all the others, okay? And it too folds flat. The fern is from an old set, so I've put this on my website, and it says something old and something new, okay? Because this is from the Forever Fern stamp set, and then the paper is and color is brand new. And then on the back, this is where I got this idea. Mom said, I don't like all that white. And I said, okay, well, let's find something else that we still have that will work. And so this is all from the Forever Fern set, but on the scallop that I decided to use on this. Okay, does that give you some inspiration? Now, I will hope to do one that goes this way and maybe opens the other way. Becky's still thinking. There's another stamp set that's leaving that I would really like to try. The Welcoming Window. Ooh, that's a little smaller than I thought. Okay, we put those shutters on it. Actually,